Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactical Magic. This is Molly Mandelberg, your host, and we have a very important, I think, episode here for you today. As most of you know, I live in about 72 square feet, and I have quite a lot of storage in this van and a lot of stuff because I live a lot of different lifestyles. I run a business, I go to events as a professional speaker. I also am kind of a wandering nomad hippie and like to go out in the desert and make art and things like that. So I'm kind of prepared for a lot of different situations. And one of the reasons I'm able to do that is because of how organized I am as a person. So I have an expert organizer, professional organizer, and a brilliant guest with me here today. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a sec. It's not just about mastering technology. It's not just about brand or messaging. It's not just about making more money. It's about showing up in a big way so your people can find you. This is about bringing your most wild and authentic self into the hustle and grind. Welcome to Tactical Magic, a business strategies podcast for the warrior goddess entrepreneur. Awesome. So our expert professional organizer, Kathi Burns, is here today to help us become more organized and energized. She's a best-selling author, a board-certified professional organizer, and image consultant. Kathi is nationally recognized for her simple organizing and style solutions and featured on Good Morning America as a successful woman-owned business. Her straightforward advice is frequently published in Stewart Living, Better Homes and Garden, Entrepreneur, Oprah Magazine, and more. Welcome to the show, Kathi.
Oh, thank you for having me on. It's been so excited and looking forward to this episode.
Yeah, so I just want to ask to start out with, have you always been an organized person?
No, actually, well, I think I got it from my father. He was super duper organized. And you know how you get what you most despise about your parents? He had systems and systems and systems. And I was like, Dad, you're crazy. And now I totally appreciate it and get it. I think I got it through learning, but I wasn't ever organized. I was kind of a pack rat at the beginning of my life. I was a collector of things.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about, because, mostly people listening to the show are either entrepreneurs or they're considering turning their side hustle into their main gig. They're on varying degrees of that adventure. What does it have to do with running a business?
Well, if you're not organized, you don't really run a business. The business runs you. I always say, eliminate your busyness and get down to business. And when you're not organized, you're constantly busy with details of things, right? If you don't have systems running in the background of your business, as you well know, because you're so streamlined and simplified with your life, if the systems aren't there to support you, then you just get stuck in the muck of your stuff and you're working on the stupid little stuff as opposed to really focusing on growing your business.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And I mean, that is very related to the work that I do with, setting up automation and tools and technology to support your business and like automating and batching content and creating ways that you can be showing up online without constantly having to be worrying about it. But I know that also the environment that we're in hugely impacts our ability to be productive and to show up in our work and to even be able to focus on a task at hand. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, the environment is so very critical, and especially as women entrepreneurs, anything that's unfinished that we're seeing in our workspace just yells at us silently because we're so visual, right? So, I always say if you have piles of paper, turn them into files, get them out of your line of sight, because a pile represents unfinished business. It's either you procrastinated, you're avoiding it, or you're just indecisive. You have no idea what to do with it. So if a pile's there, it's constantly like just screaming at you, even if it's in the closet, it's there, right? And it's like, there's something, and then you feel behind, and then you feel constantly behind and you're overwhelmed. And even if you're really being effective in your business, it's always screaming at you and you feel like you've not done enough because there's something incomplete. So as entrepreneurs, we like completion, like we like to, put in a nice little package saying, okay, all these things are taken care of. Now I can move on to the next one. And that's really that's the way that you're most effective anyhow, is chunking your time into tasks. And you talked about that a little bit, about how, you like to parcel out your podcasts in a group. And I do the same thing. If you can do like with like activities all at the same time, it's much more effective, and it's good time management. So piles distract you from all that. You could be on the phone talking to somebody, doing your thing, and then you see that little thing at the corner of you, gets your attention, and you've lost track of what you're doing, speaking with the person.
It's a small thing sitting there, that pile. And it could be, that drawer in your house, or it could be that shelf in your house, or that, when I go visit my mom, there's a big armchair in the room that I stay in at her house. And that armchair just gets covered in stuff. And it's like, it's just there waiting to be handled. And so some part of you is like in resistance to it. And that resistance, or that like incompletion, can really, I think, subconsciously distract us more than even our conscious mind is like, whatever, it's there, it's fine. But yeah, that unfinished business is worth handling. And I think one of the important things to remember is where we are anywhere is where we are everywhere. Or how we are anywhere is how we are everywhere. So it's like where the way that you're showing up and how you're caring for your space, how you're caring for your environment, how you're caring for even just the desk space that you run your business from, it impacts everything else you do. It's a sign of how you're showing up in every different place. So it's really valuable, I think, to bring that attention in. And I like that you talk about creating systems. Can you talk about some of the systems that maybe you have in your life or that you help people implement in their businesses?
Oh, absolutely. So my number one thing that I help clients with is paper control. Papers take the most energy out of you. Now, I know that you're in a paper-free environment. There might be some of your listeners that still have some piles here and there. And what I want to let everyone know is that paper is the number one energy zapper in your environment. So I work a lot with people getting rid of the papers that they don't need. And see what happens with it, Molly, is we get all these papers. Now, you only get it when you hit the post office in your mailbox, right? But everybody else gets it every day. We get it 6 days a week without even inviting it into our home. It just shows up. And as a business owner, we get even more. But no one teaches us what to do with it, or how long we need to keep it, or is it necessary? And so back to the indecision, procrastination, avoidance, if you're not empowered to know what you need to do with each little piece of paper that enters your life, then you're kind of flummoxed and stuck. So I work a lot with paper management, and actually I have a webinar coming up all about that to help people turn their piles into files. But paper is one thing, time management, chunking your time into specific parcels. Like if you can make all your phone calls at once, if you can do all your podcasts all at once, I do it one day a month and it sets me up for the month, right? So if you can do similar activities, you get more done in less time. So I work with that a lot. That comes down to the productivity and also space design and layout. Are the things that you need, and this living in a van, are the things that you need at your fingertips. For you, it's easier. For people who have a whole room like I do, where can I get my files without having to get up? Can I get the things that I need without having to get up? Because the average entrepreneur, when they leave, that's based out of their home, when they get up and to go do something or get something, they're gone about 18 minutes. Just for getting a glass of water. Like I have a little carafe of water by me, right? So I don't have to get up because, you got to pet the dog. You got to go out and look at the sun, whatever happens. So if you can have your workspace set up so that everything's within your arm's reach and you're focused on your task at hand and you don't have to leave, then you get more done in less time. And then you can actually get out and have fun and see the sun. And
yeah. I think that's really, really solid advice. Having things accessible, having things within reach. Yeah. One of the really best things I think I've figured out how to do as an entrepreneur was batching that content. I personally, I think there are two kinds of people. One kind of person needs to focus on a single project at a time in order to complete it. And I think there are also some people out there that actually get more done when they have a lot more projects on their plate. I feel like I actually am more productive when I have between 8 and 12 projects going at one time. But even when that's happening, I'm not working on 2 at the same moment. So yesterday was all my spare time was, can I finish my taxes today? And then the day before that, I'm working on building an app. So it was okay, all my spare time is just the app. It's app day, it's taxes day, it's email day, or whatever. and I'm not trying to change the task that I'm working on and switch gears so my brain is moving, like trying to reconfigure to what the next project is. I'm not doing that all that often, and I think that allows me to be more productive. And I feel like the space that you're talking about, like looking at the pile or just having a box in your house that hasn't been unpacked since you moved, like all those little places, it's almost like every time you pass by it, part of you is trying to switch to that gear and then coming back to your normal gear instead of being like fully allowed to immerse yourself in whatever the task at hand is right now. So it's like that distraction just innately hinders your capacity for creation, your capacity for productivity. And that's optional. We can actually, put things in their places or find homes or make homes for them so that that doesn't happen as much.
Well, and that's why you're so productive. That's why you are so successful and get so much done in such little amount of time, right? And you have fun. You have time for all this fun and adventure because you actually know how to parcel. A lot of people don't realize that when you're in a project, say you get a phone call, it's about 45 minutes to get back into the jam of the project that you were working on. If you were in deep thought, it's about 45 minutes before you really center back into what you're doing. So I work a lot with, just like you said, umbrella. I call it umbrellaing each day with intention. So maybe Monday is I'm getting my taxes done, or Tuesday is I'm going to do this project. Wednesday is podcast day, whatever it is, to having an overall arching idea of what's going to happen each day during the week. Preferably having it repeat itself over and over each week because we are people of habit. So what I always say is, so admin day is great on a Monday or a Friday, right? When you wrap. So even if, and this happens all the time, life happens where it's not your admin day. Some client bumps you out of that day, right? Doesn't matter, because if you know what you should have done, you know what you didn't do, so you know what you get to go back to. And that's the whole idea of the intention or the umbrella of each day of what you're going to do each day of each week. Then if it gets bumped, which it does all the time, you know what you didn't do. Because if you don't know what you're supposed to do, you don't know what you didn't do, basically.
Yeah. And then it doesn't get done.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why am I so behind? Why do I feel overwhelmed? Because, oh yeah, I was supposed to finish that project like 2 weeks ago. I had a deadline. Oh no, and then you feel, then you go into that, feel like a schmuck, embarrassment, overwhelm. And then you just, so it really helps to have the systems, supporting you in the background, as you do all your back of the business systems, but also having your environment and your papers and knowing what you're supposed to be doing each day of the week in advance of the week. I always say plan your day before it plans you, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even simple practices like having a bowl by the front door where your keys go so that you're never looking for your keys. Like, what are some more little strategic hacks that we can give people that just make life a little bit more smooth or easier?
I love the key by the door. My favorite thing is my key holder. I just moved New Year's Eve, and I put that key thing up immediately, because before that I would always lose my keys. So you get in, you put your key on, and then you know where it is. I used to be able to park in my garage, so I would actually keep the key in my car, and that way I wouldn't even have to worry about it. But another hack, a hack that I use all the time is having water at your disposal when you're at the desk. That avoids that. And I already mentioned that a little bit. Having, I always say burn your to-do list. It's one of my new talks is, having a hack, because not having a to-do list, but knowing what you're going to do before the day begins is the way to do it. And I don't know if you've ever thought about it. A to-do list means you're putting off doing it. Because if you were going to do it, it wouldn't go on to a to-do list, right? Mm-hmm. So think about it, plan in advance for that. Let's see what else. I haven't thought about these little tips for a long time, but I use them all the time. Well, one thing, if you're getting ready to go out and you know that you're going to have a day out, plan your outfit in advance. Like I'm going into a conference later today and then for 3 days. I already know my outfits. That way it's less stress. I can get out the door on time and know where I'm going and what I'm going to wear and not be worried about that. Right.
Yeah.
So having knowing where you're going to go and having the outfits ready before you have to go is a really good thing. And that comes back down to wardrobe management. I think that you can put yourself together with eight essential elements and you're kind of good to go. And I know this, living in a van, you've got you've got your essential items and they're perfect for what you do and what you need, and you can just grab and go.
Yeah,
So
totally. But I agree with you, having the plan in place, even as simple as I lay out the clothes for the gym the night before the day I'm going to go to the gym, because then I know as soon as I wake up, there's no hemming and hawing about this. You're going to the gym, your clothes are already right there. That's what you're putting on. So
yeah, I love to-go bags. I love to-go bags. So I have a to-go bag for my Pilates. I have a to-go bag for the class that I go to every week. I have a to-go bag for my conferences. So, I have a bag that's just packed and ready and loaded for whenever. I have a bag for the zoo where I have my sunscreen and my little cup and my sunglasses. So, I can just I have a movie bag. So I love having all the different bags for the different adventures. And then I don't even have to worry about it. Just grab, maybe add one thing to it and good to go.
Yeah. And I love that kind of setup and forethought actually allows you to be more spontaneous. It allows you to be like, oh yeah, let's go do that right now because I'm ready.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it or think about it.
Yeah. And I have something that I do every summer is I always have my back jack and my big blanket so that anytime that I'm driving by that I can stop at the beach and just sit or sit in a park and sit, I have it right there, and a book. Yeah. So I have it always in the back of my car during the summer months. And then I can be very spontaneous. And I have maybe 20 minutes in between appointments. I can hit some grass because there's nothing better than just being outside and putting your feet in the grass or in the sand that can just level you out and make you good to go. I also like the ritual in the morning. I mean, I ask people, please don't check your inbox when you start work. Wait. So that's a hack for sure, is don't go into your inbox. I don't know if you realize, but an inbox is a call to action. It is a reactionary process. It's not proactive at all. Anytime you go into an inbox and see an email, it's because someone wants you to read something, do something, send something, blah, blah, blah. It's not anything that, it's somebody else asking you to do something, basically. So it's a reactionary process. So if you're going to be proactive in your business, you're never going to go into your inbox first thing. You're going to set your stage, know what you're going to do your hardest thing first. That's another thing too. Do the thing that you really don't want to do first thing, knock it out, then jump into your inbox. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, if I don't check my emails, people are going to be very upset. And I'm like, no, if that's the case, you can put in your signature line, in an effort to serve my clients more fully, I check my emails twice a day. If you really need me as an emergency, whatever, text, call, whatever you want to do that. But you can put that as your signature line in your email, and then you don't have that worry if that is a concern. But I think once your people know you, they know they're not going to get me in the inbox. If they need me at 9 a.m., it's not going to happen. I'm not even going to see what they're talking about until noon or 1, probably.
Yeah. And that's something people get trained to do when they interact with you. And if you think about it, when you send an email to someone, it's on the top of your mind. You need to send that email because it's, something you need to complete. And their response is always going to be on their time. So whether you have a meeting first thing in the morning or you're taking that hour or 2 hours or however long before you go into your inbox, it makes no difference to the other people most of the time. And yeah, like you said, you can have an auto response email that says, hey, I check my email twice a day. If it's more important than that, then here's how to get a hold of me. But I'm a huge fan of that. And I preach that as well. Intention versus reaction in the morning, and having your energy and your needs getting met and your cup getting filled before anybody else gets a say in what's important to you. Yeah.
Yeah, a morning ritual is so very important, whatever that means to you. I like to tap into source and whatever means. Maybe I did breath work this morning. Maybe I'll go out and sit in the sun, do a little bit of meditation. I mean, whatever it means, having that ritual. Now, for me, it always starts with a cup of coffee and then I can meditate. Some people can't do that, but whatever it is, you need to take that time just to center and focus and set your intention and then go on to the races. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, we think we gotta hit it bad. We gotta hit it because we got so much we have to do, right? But if we don't take that time to center first, then we're not as effective by any means.
Not as effective and more likely to lead to burnout and overwhelm, which we all like to think will never happen to us, but it does happen if you're not.
Yeah, and overwhelm is a symbol of things left undone.
Yeah.
Too much undone. And we're like, I don't even know where to start. I mean, that's the main that my clients come to me, I don't even know where to start. I've got blah. And where do I start with this? And it's narrowing it down to using systems like Molly's. Let's do some back of the ground. The thing is, what should you be doing? What shouldn't you be doing? What do you hate doing? And then, take it from there. Job out QuickBooks if you're not a financial person. So many of my clients spend so much time doing bookkeeping and they hate it. Like, why? That's below your pay grade. So you have to think about how much your time's worth and job out the crap and job out the stuff that's beyond your expertise. Because why start? I mean, I in the beginning of my career 19 years ago, I tried to do everything and I tried to do stuff that I hated, and I was really bad at it. Mm-hmm. And it took me, a couple years to say, I am jobbing that out. Yeah. Right. And now it's like, oh, hallelujah. I just send it to her and she can handle it.
Yeah, it's important to find that person for sure. I do have a course about how to train and hire, delegate to, and manage a virtual assistant too. So if anybody's looking for hiring it out advice, that workshop is up on my website, wildheartsraiseup.com. But there's one thing in my big 6-month group program called Magnetic Influencer Collective. There's a game and people get points for doing certain things like taking care of their business. And one of the things is making an SOP. So an SOP is a standard operating procedure or system of operations, whatever it is. And you can make systems like that for yourself. So for example, you're an entrepreneur, you have finally got an email list together. You want to email your list, but every time you go into that software, you're beating your head against the wall because you don't remember how you set it up the last time. Mm-hmm. So as you're setting something up in your business, whether it's an email or whether you're scheduling a social media post or you're using 4 different apps to make a reel, whatever it is, write down what you're doing or even screen record yourself. You can open up Zoom by yourself and share your screen and make a recording and talk yourself through the whole process. And then boom, you've got a how-to video made by you for that aspect of your business. And you never have to wonder how to do it again because you've just written down exactly how you do it. And the beauty of that is as you build that SOP folder, which it should be a folder on your computer, maybe also a folder on Google Drive so it's backed up, or Dropbox or wherever, that system of operations folder becomes the training manual for that virtual assistant once you're finally ready to hire someone to support you. And it's like, hey, I need this email set up to my email list. Here's exactly how I do it. And boom, system supporting you ongoingly over time. So there's so many ways that we can do that in our businesses and in our lives. And I think it's, really powerful to start looking at what's not working. What am I tired of doing? What am I tired of being frustrated by or avoiding? And how can I address that in a way that my future self will thank me for it?
I love that. Your future self. Well, thank you. It's so very true. And, I love the idea of doing the screenshot videos through Zoom. I do that all the time. And it does remind me and it reminds, the person that I job it out to, this is how it's done. It's just so easy. As you're saying this, I'm thinking, the thing is that for every hour that you spend getting organized, you save 3 hours later. So people listening to you might be going, yeah, but Molly, I don't have time to get into Zoom and do up the screenshot and all that. Well, you're doing it anyhow, so you might as well record it. And it might take a little bit longer to edit it and save it and put it somewhere and remember and whatever, but it's going to save you 3 times that amount of time later. So I'm a strong proponent of what you say.
Yeah, absolutely. And even more than 3 hours, if it's something that's actually a task for your business that you're going to hire somebody else to do, that you never have to do again because you made that video, like that's many more than 3 hours. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I will say on my podcast, I run 2 podcasts and I just get to record all the other steps about publishing, editing, publishing, making social media posts about it. My brilliant virtual assistant does, because we made a system and she follows that system, and poof, both of those get broadcast on many different platforms and channels, and I don't have to do it because I didn't like doing it. It wasn't fun for me.
You know that, girl. Yeah, all I do is record too. Thank goodness, hallelujah, for the people that like to do this kind of stuff. See, that's the thing too. It's like, do you like to do it or do you hate to do it? If you hate to do it, to figure out somebody else that loves to do it can do it for you. And I do
people exist.
thing. Yeah. Let's just talk, Molly, and let's let everybody else do all that stuff.
Yeah. Yes, totally. So you have a workshop or a webinar coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's called the Get It Gone webinar, and it's all about getting rid of the distractions, getting those distractions gone. And it focuses on papers and documents and things that are cluttering up your life. So I give a lot of tips about how to take control of your workspace, how to take control of your environment, and you'll really walk away with some really solid. I'm an action-oriented girl, so you end up with step 1, step 2, step 3. This is what you can do to make your life simpler and easier and be more effective in your workspace. So yeah, it comes up on March 14th. Registration is open. It's free. You don't have to pay a penny. You can check out the webinar and learn some things to get more done in less time. And then you can get it gone, get that stuff gone that you no longer need, use, or love in your life and in your business.
Awesome. That is definitely worth signing up for. We'll put the link to that in the show notes for y'all. So if you want to go sign up for that webinar and check it out, it could be life-changing. It sounds like some really powerful insights. Who is it that you mostly work with? I know you work with entrepreneurs sometimes. You also work with people in their homes. Like, what is the best candidate to reach out to you?
Women. Smart, successful, artistic, creative women. They can be employees of a corporation. I have a lot of scientists that I work with, or it can be women entrepreneurs. I've been an entrepreneur for almost my whole entire life. So, and a home-based entrepreneur. So I totally get where they're coming from. And I am artistic creative. So I love the creatives because I understand the way that we think. I'm a little bit ADD. I'm a little bit artistic. I'm not your typical organizer. So the artistic creatives I love. And then women in their homes that, I have a few clients right now that they've either inherited a bunch of properties. They don't know what they're doing with them. They are overwhelmed because maybe they're single parents and they're trying to raise their kids and work full time. So getting their environment so that it is cohesive and works for them, and coming up with the people that they need to support them is really critical. Back to the job description, you figure out what you can't do, and then you do the job description, and then that person walks right in. Once you set that intention, as you set the intention of this is the ideal person that can really help me in my life. You write it all down, and then that person will show up. It happens all the time. I see it all the time happening. Yeah. So when I work with clients, whether they're entrepreneurs or whether, they're just overwhelmed, busy women working in corporate environment, the idea is to set the intention of what they want to accomplish through the organization of their life. And I see it happen. It happens. This, you set your intention, and then, they get the job promotion, they get the guy, they get the new home, they get, a partner in business, whatever it is. So for me, when I work with clients, it's all about setting the intention of what's the real outcome, because let's face it, no one really loves getting organized. It's not about getting organized. It's about the outcome of what's going to occur as you create that. And so that's really my goal when I work with each person is, what's this long-term thing that you're dreaming about? And let's see if we can reach it. Let's clear away. That's why I name my book, How to Master Your Muck. Like, let's clear away the muck. And muck for me is anything that makes you stuck or unable to move forward. So once we clear away that muck, whatever it is, in business or in life, then you're able to focus and reach the goals that you really want to reach. And that's always my goal is, let's just get to where we feel empowered and alive and organized and energized. When you're organized, you are energized. And we all need more energy in our life, because with energy, we have freedom. With freedom, we have more success because we're better able to do what we want to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Super inspiring. Thank you so much, Kathi, for sharing your wisdom and your magic on the show today. And you've shared so many insights and like little tips and gems that I think people are hopefully going to go utilize and implement right now. But I always like to ask at the end of the show, are there any last words of wisdom that you want to leave people with?
One small insignificant change, something that you think is like a no-brainer, and you change this one thing, has a ripple effect and creates a much, much more lasting result than you would ever think. So even if it's whatever you do that's a small shift, it's going to ripple into a larger thing. So think small, don't get overwhelmed. Think about that small thing that you can do to tweak your business or tweak your life, and it will ripple into bigger and bigger things. And you'll be more empowered to do the bigger things. Once you see that little shift, you'll be able to shift bigger, shift bigger, shift bigger. And that's what it's all about, is expansion. We're here to expand and create. And so let's just start by expanding in small little areas. And once you see it, you get energized and you're like, yeah, I can do that.
Awesome. I love it. One small little shift, can ripple out into so much more. And I think there's a confidence building aspect to that too. When you change one small thing and you get to see, wow, that works better now, it kind of instigates or like inspires you to see what else is possible, what else you can change, what else is, going to support you more. If you look at it.
And don't start giant, because don't start with something, like they say about the elephant, don't try to do all that, start with something that you can really control and handle and have completion on. And then you're empowered to do to that bigger project or that bigger project or that bigger project.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, I feel excited. Kathi, thank you for sharing. It is energizing to talk about this stuff and think about this stuff. And are you on social media? Where is the best place for people to go and follow you?
I am. Yeah, I'm on Facebook. You can look for Organized and Energized. I have a YouTube channel called Organized and Energized. You can find me at LinkedIn under Kathi Burns. So, whatever floats your boat, you can find me all over the place. The podcast is called Organized and Energized, the podcast, which you've been a guest on. So your people might be familiar with that. So just look for Organized and Energized or Kathi Burns, and you'll find me popping up all over the place. I also have a free download. If you guys cannot make the webinar, there's a free download that we can put in the link to. It's called Burn Your To-Do List, Healthy Hacks for Entrepreneurs. You can grab that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show, Kathi.
You're welcome. Thanks, Molly. It's good to see you, and happy trails.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you everyone out there for listening. Whatever happens, keep asking big questions and taking bold action, because you are here for a reason. See you next time.